Good afternoon. It is Friday, and I say that every Friday. I know I do. I sound like a broken record, but that's just kind of what happens. And so today we're going to be talking about anti-aging, and I love anti-aging because I think it's really, really great when we get to have tons of birthdays, but we don't have the age-related complications that go with it, right? So that's kind of what we're about here at Abundant Health and Wellness. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can look 35 when you're 50. And really, we're going to be talking about how to stop the aging process and what you can do at home in order to do this. And so most of us, by the time we are, 45, 50, we start to see the signs of aging, and we think that aging is inevitable. Now, I will remember when I was in my early 40s, I was doing my eyeliner, and I pulled my eye down, and you have that little white fat patch that's right inside your eyelid. If you don't know that, well, you can go and have a look because you have one. Well, mine was yellow. It wasn't white anymore. And I just said to myself, oh no, now I have old lady eyes, right? Well, I learned all about how to cleanse the liver, how to do the things that you need to do, and the little white patch under my eye is now white again, and it turned around like in 6 months or something like that. So you do not have to get older. We want you to have birthdays, but we don't want your body to deteriorate. And there's different signs like that little fat patch under your eye that you can tell if your liver is congested and if you need to do some detoxing. So in the article that I'm going to discuss with you today, we're going to be talking about what we can do with our diet to retard the signs of aging. Okay, so in traditional Chinese medicine, and Chinese medicine has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and so we can really trust it and that kind of thing. So traditional Chinese medicine says that you have to take care of your spleen and your stomach if you want to live a good, long, healthy life. Now, from the traditional Chinese perspective, the spleen refers not just to your organ, called the spleen, but also to the comprehensive energy system that governs the pancreas, the intestines, and the stomach. So this is pretty much your GI tract. And I would also put in there the liver as well, because the liver is very important for detoxification. Now, the fundamental concept in this traditional Chinese medicine is that nourishing the spleen and the stomach is nourishing life. And this is because the spleen is responsible for converting foods that we eat and water that we drink into qi, and that is spelled Qi. Don't ask me why you call it qi, but that's what you call it. And the blood, which are energy sources that circulate through the bodies, and that improves all of our bodily functions. Now, I know most of my audience is Christian, and when I start bringing in traditional Chinese medicine, you're going to go, eh. And when I talk about qi, you're going to think, oh, I've gone over into New Age, and there's nothing further from the truth. Traditional Chinese medicine calls it qi, but we call it the breath of God. We call it the life force. We don't have that, we're not living, okay? And so everybody can just kind of simmer down that we're not into New Age here. This is just the way the body works. And the spleen and the pancreas help to have everything working the way that it needs to. So what happens if you don't have a spleen? And what is the spleen? So I'm going to digress a little bit because I do know people who don't have spleens. And so if spleen is such an integral part of your body, what happens when you don't have one? When I was about 19, 20, I had gone down to the lake to see the races. I had met some friends there, foolishly got on the back of a motorcycle in the rain, had a wipe out, wound up in the hospital. Now, fortunately, I just have superficial scarring, but the person that I was riding with lost his spleen. And so these things, and people will tell you, it doesn't really matter if you have a spleen. It does matter, okay? It does matter. So with your spleen, let me see where my paper is. Okay, here's my paper. Here's my paper. The spleen, all right, you can lose your spleen through an accident, as my friend did, or necessary surgery, which is called a spleenectomy. Now, some people who are lacking a spleen, this is the organ that filters your bloodstream and helps your body fight infection. So those people that don't have a spleen are going to have more trouble when they have an infection. The spleen is a fist-sized organ that sits under your rib cage on the left side of your abdomen. And unlike your liver, your kidneys, or your stomach, it's not directly connected to any of the other organs in your body. Instead, it is connected through a major blood vessels with an artery that brings the blood in, and then there's a vein that takes the blood out. So you've got red pulp in your spleen and you've got white pulp in your spleen. Now the red pulp helps with the blood vessels, recycling the blood vessels and that kind of thing. And your white pulp helps the body to fight infection. So both of these organs or types of tissue in this organ help to fight infection. So the loss of the spleen's ability to filter out infected red blood cells increases the risk of two specific pathologies, and that is the infection of malaria and the infection of Lyme's disease. So people who do not have a spleen need to be really, really careful when they get bitten by mosquitoes or ticks. Okay, so this is really important. Now, the doctors will tell you if you do not have a spleen that you are in risk of severe or even deadly infections from these bacteria. Now, the article wants you to get vaccines, and if you know me, you know that I am not a fan of vaccines, and the main reason I'm not is because of the thimerosal that is in the vaccine. Now, the thimerosal will cross your blood-brain barrier, and when you have things that cross your blood-brain barrier, you get heavy metal toxicity, which leads to both autism and dementia. So we do not want to do that. If you don't have a spleen, the doctor's pretty much going to tell you to have antibiotics with you at all times. And then when you get into a situation, either a bite or an accident or whatever, you start taking those antibiotics because you do not have a spleen. So that's really, really important. We want to make sure that you are able to do what you need to do with that. But we're going back to our report with... and for some reason, my pages are all messed up. I think somebody's been in my office today. So I appreciate y'all bearing with me. Bear with me. Here we go. Okay. So with women on their spleen, they find that women have a lot more trouble not having a spleen. All right. And they grow older faster. Now, this is why having all of your body parts is really important. And I know that people will say you don't need your spleen, you don't need your tonsils, you don't need your adenoids, you don't need your gallbladder. But you know what? It's really important that we have all those kind of things because it's what makes us be able to function the way we're supposed to function. So the women that have lost their gallbladders, their spleen, they're going to age much faster than women that have all of their organs. So if you lose your spleen, your face becomes very pale, your skin becomes very dry, and it becomes more prone to wrinkles. So spleen deficiency also leads to irregular menstruation and also aggravation in menopausal symptoms. Now, I don't know about you, but menopause can just really bite. There's got to be a lot of support there, mental support, emotional support, hormonal support, and all that kind of thing. So if you don't have a spleen, you're going to be more troublesome in menopause. Now, you may have a spleen, but just like any other organs in your bodies, if it's not nourished properly, you're going to have some issues. So we've got some foods that we want to look at to see what we can do to help our spleen. So men can have a weak spleen and a weak stomach, and it causes health issues such as fatigue, low energy, bloating, and indigestion. When you add work stress to that, the men turn to comfort foods like fried foods and high-fat foods, and all of this leads to extensive damage in their spleen and in their stomach. So the traditional Chinese medicine called this dampness, wetness in the spleen, and how that manifests is a lot of phlegm in the body. Now, I know going around right now is a lot of coughing and respiratory, so everybody is familiar with what phlegm is. But there's more than just the phlegm that you cough up or you have sinus issues or whatever. When phlegm builds up in the body, it can contribute to three things: high cholesterol, hypertension, high blood pressure, and high sugar or diabetes. And so when you are dealing with these kind of diseases, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and high sugar, you might want to check and see what's going on with your spleen, because if your spleen isn't nourished properly, it gives rise to these conditions. Now, we know that high cholesterol is not a disease per se. It is the result of inflammatory processes in the body. So it causes inflammation. High sugar, you eat too much sugar, parasites, infections, viruses, all those kind of things. And so we want to know what's going on with our spleen and our stomach so that we can deal with it appropriately. So this is going to be some controversial news, because if you're just, doing social media and all that kind of stuff, people are going to tell you that raw, cold foods are the best foods for you. However, if you want to nourish your stomach and your spleen, your body does not like raw, cold foods. So this is something that you're going to have to decide, what does your body like? I always say, eat what makes your body happy. Now, don't take that as a license that you can just live off of donuts and macaroni and cheese and all that kind of stuff, because while it does make you happy, it's not necessarily healthy for you. And so we need to kind of figure out where that is. So the spleen and the stomach prefer warm and dislike cold. So foods such as iced drinks and sashimi. I can't even say that word. I didn't even know what that word was. Does anybody know what that is? It's similar to sushi, but it doesn't have rice in it. Okay, so the spleen and the stomach do not like that. It weakens your digestion and it leaves your face shallow and dull. Processed and high-fat foods also are not good for the spleen and the stomach. Now, I think all of us know that, but did you know that in America, most of our diet, 60% of our diet, if you're not mindful of your diet, 60% of your diet is processed food. You've got all the chemicals, you've got all the poisons, you've got all the things that you don't want to have, and you're not getting any of the nutrients. So your spleen really, really does not like that. So what do you want to give your body? What do you want to give your spleen? You want to give it, according to traditional Chinese medicine, you want to give it whole grains. Now, I will say whole grains are really, really good for you, but not in the United States of America. Now, why is this? Because our industrial farmers spray the fields with glyphosate 2 times, okay? Glyphosate is found in the brand pesticide Roundup, okay? There are several class action suits that people have brought that have claimed that using Roundup gave them cancer, and they have won their suits. However, the industrial farming complex still uses Roundup on the grain. Now, in a way, for the farmer gets more yield because Roundup, we know what Roundup does. We've all seen it. It shrivels up the grass and it throws out all the kernels. So the farmer's not going to lose anything. However, we, the consumer, when we take that grain, we process that grain, we eat that grain, then we're getting glyphosate in our body. And this is one of the number one ways that we've got leaky gut syndrome and we've got gluten intolerance is because of the glyphosate on the grains. So while grains are good for you, for most people in most parts of the world, where glyphosate is part of your industrial farming procedure, it is not good for you. So how do you get a workaround on this? You get grains that are labeled organic, and even at that, you're still probably going to have some residual situations, but it's not going to be as full-blown as having something that's not labeled organic. And the reason I say that is because of chemtrails, they're spraying everything, and also if I have an industrial farm here and an organic farm here, I spray this farm, I don't spray this farm, the wind is still going to carry some of the spray over. All right. And so until we get to the Garden of Eden, we're not going to be able to avoid everything, but we can do the best that we can do by getting organic grains where possible. Organic grains are very good for nourishing the spleen and strengthening the stomach. In traditional Chinese medicine, yellow foods correspond to the spleen and the stomach. So this would be millet, sweet potatoes, and pumpkins. Now, you might think that that's orange food, but it's in the same family. So all those foods help nourish the spleen and the stomach. Millet is amazingly effective at nourishing the spleen and helps lower your blood sugar and improves sleep. Sweet potatoes have enough fiber in it that lowers your cholesterol and it makes your blood vessels more elastic. So that's really good. Studies have also shown that pumpkins are rich in lutein, polyphenols, and other biologically active substances, which help reduce the bad cholesterol in your system. It regulates your immunity and it lowers blood sugar. So you want to make sure that you're eating these foods, not every day, but certainly you want to be rotating all of the foods. Believe it or not, we should be eating 35 different fruits and vegetables in 1 week. Now, I don't do that. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't do that. I do eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, but I take Life Pack Nanos because Life Pack Nanos has all the fruits and vegetables that I need. All of these little, you can't read it because I know it's too small for you, but this is a vitamin that protects your DNA. That means it helps protect you against cancer. It's for your cardiovascular health. It's for your immune support to help you get through all the challenges. Bone health. It's a network of antioxidants. It's for your brain. It helps protect against dementia and that kind of thing. It helps with your nutrition and your metabolism. We want to make sure that we're not getting overweight. We want to make sure that we do get all the nutrients that we need so that we can function. It's good for your eye health, and it's also good for your skin health. Now, this particular box right here, you can see it's got this little symbol right here. That little symbol says that it is Scanner Score certified. That means when you come in and I scan you nutritionally and I figure out where you are and I say, Mrs. Jones, here is your scan number. And most people scan in the red, unfortunately. We want you to scan in the purple. Let me see if I can bring that up really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah. So here is a scan that we did this morning. We want you to be over here in the purple. Most people are over here in the red and the orange. And what that means is you're not getting enough fruits and vegetables in order to make the antioxidants that you need to nourish your stomach and your spleen and all of your other organs as well. And so if you're not doing 35 different fruits and vegetables per week like you're supposed to, if you do a vitamin like this, there's all the ingredients. You can see that it's got tons and tons, and it's made from real food. All right. And so you're getting all that you need with a supplement so that you need to be fastidious about your food for sure. But as I said, most people are not able to get 35 different fruits and vegetables. So if you have a good multivitamin that is made from fruits and vegetables, then you're able to bridge that gap. And so that's what we do. You want to have high quality protein. So a lack of protein will lead to insufficient muscle synthesis, rapid bone loss, and increased risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Now, we want to make sure that we have adequate protein. I think you need an adult, you need about 70 to 75 grams of protein a day. Your protein has a lot of amino acids in it. And if you'll remember from your 4th grade health class, that amino acids are the building blocks of your brain. The proteins, especially seafood, mackerel and salmon, have your omega-3 fatty acids, and also that's good for your heart and your brain health. And I will just tell you, in this package, I'll show you this too. In this package, these 2 red pills are for the, they've got your omega-3s in there. And on this side, most vitamins are like this with their omegas, and your body's not able to absorb it. This is broken down. It's manufactured to be broken down so that it is easily absorbable. So they can guarantee that this product will move you in the right direction when it comes to your antioxidants. So that's really important. We also want you, when you're doing your 35 vegetables per week, we want you to make sure that you're doing high fiber vegetables. Now, I did not know this. This is a fun fact about broccoli. Now, I like broccoli, but I'm not going to eat broccoli every day. I'm just not going to. But broccoli, spinach, and sweet potato leaves, I don't know that I've ever had a sweet potato leaf. They are all high in fiber, and they help reduce the risk of heart disease. So research has found that consuming broccoli 1 to 2 times a week is associated with a 32% to 43% lower mortality risk. So just eating broccoli once or twice a week is going to protect you and help you live longer. The more frequently you eat it, the lower your risk of cardiovascular disease and cancer death. Now, we do know that there is a substance, and I didn't write that down, and I'm probably not going to be able to exactly tell you, but it's a sulfur in the vegetables that is the cancer preventative. So we want to live long, we want to live strong, we want to make sure that we've got all of the things that we need in there. Olive oil, believe it or not, also can fight the aging process and prevent dementia. Older adults are at risk of dementia, and a 2024 Harvard study showed that long-term olive oil intake was associated with lower risk of dementia-related death. Researchers analyzed the data and for more than 90,000 U.S. adults who had been followed for 28 years. They found that consuming more than 7 grams, that's 0.25 ounces, which is about half a teaspoon, of olive oil per day was associated with a 28% risk of lower dementia-related death as compared to those who never or rarely used olive oil. So I would just encourage you, when you're doing your cooking, your sauteing, your stir frying, whatever, that you use really good quality, extra virgin olive oil, okay? Researchers also mentioned that the phenolic compounds in extra virgin olive oil can reduce inflammation, oxidative stress, and restore blood-brain barrier function. So this is really important. If you've been impaired in those areas, then this is really, really important. When it repairs the blood-brain barrier, it reduces the amyloid plaques and the tau-related proteins, which is a mark of Alzheimer's and dementia. All right. So what else helps the spleen? Believe it or not, and I don't know how all this is connected, but traditional Chinese medicine says this, that as we are aging, we forget to blink our eyes, and so we are more prone to eye-related diseases. And we do know that as we get older, we've got macular degeneration, we've got cataracts, we've got glaucoma, we've got all the things. So they have found that blinking your eyes rapidly can help slow down eye strain and eye aging, and it can help alleviate the strain. So this is really important. When you have a break, you want to blink your eyes as fast as you can, about 30 blinks, just as fast as you can. Now, one of the things that dries out our eyes is staring at the screen. Okay, and so we all use our phones, we all use our tablets, we all use our computers. That's just part of who we are. That's part of our society. However, we have this great little product called Eye Formula. And this Eye Formula protects your eyes against the blue light that comes off of your screen. If you're protected against the blue light, your eyes are not going to age as quickly as they would be if you were not protected. So this is something that you can do. You can take a formula like that. You can blink your eyes in rapid succession for 30 times throughout the day when you're taking a break, when you're having your lunch break, when you're waiting for the bus, when you're, whatever you're doing, you can do this. This promotes circulation around the eyes, improves dry eyes, and prevents cataracts and eye degeneration. This also gives your eyes a brief rest. The last thing we want to talk about is that our bodily functions, our movement, right? Old people just sit around and they don't move. We want you to move. It's one of those things you use it or lose it. And so most women, and men too, but women more so, are prone to osteoporosis, osteopenia. All right. Why is that? For us girls, it's because we're lacking in estrogen. But one of the things that helps us is movement and weight-bearing exercise. So one of the things you can do is just put your hands against the wall, arms straight, straighten out your arms. Put your arms against the wall and lean into that. And that is weight bearing. You're bearing your own weight, and that's going to strengthen your bones. The same thing with running, walking, all that kind of thing. So you can actually do quite a lot at home to stop the aging process. Now, we've got a couple of other products here I want to go over with you. Spleen LF. Now, I love this, okay? Your spleen, as we talked about, has your red pulp and your white pulp. It also nourishes what you need to make your red blood cells and your white blood cells. And so if you're on your blood work, if your white blood count is depleted, if your red blood count is depleted, this is a really good supplement to go in there and help you. We had a little girl, and your platelets should be about, I think it's 150 to 350, something like that. And hers were three, not 300, 3. And that's multiplied by thousands, okay? But on her blood work, it was 3. We put her on this, and within, I think, 2 months, it may have been a little over 2 months, she went back to the doctor and her platelets were perfect. Why is that? Because everything that makes your blood cells is attached, well, not attached, but it is coordinated with the splenic activity. And when you get your spleen working the way it needs to, then all those other things will resolve. Because we're all created to be unique and to be, everything works with everything else. Everything is connected. I know when we were little, we would sing that song, you know, the hip bone's connected to the leg bone and all that kind of stuff. Well, internally as well, you're all connected. And so if you're not taking care of your internal environment, then you're not going to live long and live strong. The other thing I want to show you, and this is a homeopathic formula, and it also is for your spleen, and it's really, really good. It is, it doesn't taste bad, and you can see it's got all of those beautiful ingredients in the back, and it really helps you. So if you have any kind of autoimmune issues or lower immunity, if you're someone that catches a cold every time it comes around, these are 2 products that you're going to want to look at because you want to nourish your spleen. And as you nourish your spleen, you're going to have a retarding effect on the aging process. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that as we have another birthday, as we go another year around the sun, that we do it with grace, we do it with strength, we do it able to operate and do all the things that make life fun. So that's a lot of information. Traditional Chinese medicine is ancient, and there's a lot of wisdom in it. So you might want to look into that and see. You want to nourish your spleen. You want to nourish your stomach. You want to nourish your immune system so you're not going to be prone to everything that's going around today, okay? So it is the weekend. It is actually no, it's not the first weekend. I was going to say it's the first weekend in the year, but it's not. It's the second one. And so we want you to nourish yourself. We want you to relax, replenish, refresh, all the things that we do on the weekend. And I will see you back next week. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and I'll see you next Friday.